Hello, everyone. My name is Carmen Yagūe for Voces del Yoga podcast. In today's episode, we have Petri Raisanen. Am I pronouncing that well, Petri?
That's perfect. Thank you.
Good. So I had the chance to meet Petri in person in Madrid. He did a workshop a few weeks ago only. I had heard a lot about you, but had never met you. And there were several things that caught my attention and that we will discuss in this episode. One of them, your unique views, how you carry yourself in the Mysore room. Also, the therapeutic effects of practice, how you understand Ashtanga Yoga practice as it means for therapy, for healing, and also as only 1 week ago, Sharathji passed away. I think it's inevitable that we will touch on that, see how you are feeling and how people are feeling in general, and maybe what's next, what's coming next.
Yeah,
Question.
that's a good question. Hasn't been so much time to think about it. It's mostly it's just be quiet and a little bit like sad and mourning, and just feeling that sorrow, the grief. But yeah, that's still there. So I was just in Netherlands teaching in Utrecht, and I had all these afternoon classes, and I was just like, I can't do it. We were just talking. I couldn't do the classes really. I mean, everything felt like not necessary in that moment when there is so much of just the feeling of that loss, and it's just the community, like what happens with the community and the family and whole. So like, and everything happens so quickly and unexpected. So yeah, here we are 1 week later.
It came as a big shock for everyone. I remember it was last Tuesday morning, I woke up for Mysore class and I checked my phone. A friend from Mexico has written to me like at 4 a.m. my time, like breaking the news. And it was like, this is not possible. And I went into social media right away and I started seeing the whole thing and messages from friends and all of that. And it was like a big shock.
Yeah.
To the extent that you really don't process that at first. It takes a few days to come to the understanding that it actually happened.
Yeah, and even longer. It's just some kind of shock that the mind can just take it. And now, like yesterday, seeing the picture from Mysore, it kind of, and it comes again, like 1 week later, it's like it hits you again, like, okay, wow, it really happened, And but it's a reality of life. It's nature. At the same time, there's so many people like been praying and doing rituals and healing work, and so at the same time it becomes this kind of beauty of reality, love and loss at the same time. So it's kind of, you don't experience this so many times in your lifetime. And I think, like a big thing has been also that it was first Patabi choice and Sharathji became the main teacher, and then now he passed on. So also this, that you don't really know what is going to happen. And I know what I'm doing. I know when many other people are doing, but like you don't know what happens with Mysore, with the big shala, with all the people who's been following Sharathji in the last years.
Yes.
Like especially for them and for the family, for the children, it's like it's a huge thing.
It is.
It is kind of can't imagine.
Mm.
I was there for 20 years with Sharathji. I went in 1996 to Mysore, and Patabi George was the main guru, and Sharathji was the assistant. And 2016, I was there last time, so it was 20 years every year going to Mysore. So I have the memory of like the old, young Sharathji.
Wow.
You know, when he was like just this like young boy. When I went to Mysore, he was 25, and I'm 4 years older. So, and it was just, you know, he was always in a kind of good mood and happy and joking and, you know, helping, and also sometimes a little bit strict and tough. But you know, it was just, you know, being with him such a long time. Even I didn't go to Mysore in the last years for many reasons, but it's very, very painful, you know, to also to feel also the other people's pain. But yeah, we had a beautiful ritual last week, and we did this with the pandita. There was a female Hindu priest, and it was a beautiful moment. She was also explaining the Vedic way of like seeing like what she was calling passing on, and not passing out, passing on. So just changing to that kind of level, and it makes it kind of so much softer, that when you change the perspective, not from the death or rest in peace or passing away, but just like passing on, moving to the other state. So it changes a little bit. Even you still feel the pain and sorrow, but there's also that other side that Sharathji is in a peaceful place.
I remember that I saw pictures of you, and you also mentioned about the ritual that was in Utrecht, wasn't it? In the Netherlands, Utrecht. I was here in London. There was an open house. I also mentioned that to you. There was an open house for Sharathji, and it was very emotional. The atmosphere was very peaceful.
Yeah, you kind
very grounded,
quiet.
Very emotional.
Yeah, you can't really talk. You can't really do anything. Just kind of thinking and feeling your heart breaking. Yeah, it makes you very quiet.
And I remember Hamish started to ask people, like, do you guys have any story about Sharathji that you would like to share? And there were some people. David Swanson was there. I think he's teaching in town now, so he was there. He was sharing some stories, especially of young Sharathji, which is, it's always fun to hear David speak, and other teachers and other practitioners as well that got to meet him in person. And it was very emotional. Like, it was impossible not to cry.
Yeah.
It was like literally impossible.
Yeah. And it's good. It's good to cry. It helps kind of releases also. Yeah, I was just flying. I was in the airplane, and I started to write something for the Instagram, and I was just crying a lot, you know, in the airplane. It just came out, and it's not so normal that I cry, but I was just crying. It was a beautiful moment at the same time. just thinking about Sharathji and writing something, for him. Yeah, so it makes things so real. It's so much we are just thinking about the past or future or all these kind of things which are maybe not so necessary. And this really stops you for this moment.
I was talking to Louise, who's one of the teachers at Ashtanga Yoga London. She is fantastic. She's a great person to talk to, and she was telling me, like, we know intellectually that the present moment is what we have. We know intellectually, but then something like this happens, and you realize that you need to raise your game. I mean, my son, she was telling me, the last words that he hears from me can't be, "You didn't make your bed today." I need to raise my game. So it puts things like seeing death, something that can happen anytime, so unexpectedly. It does help to put things into perspective and get closer to the reality of things, not just to know them from your mind, but actually to feel them in your gut, I would say.
Yeah, there was also somebody posted in Instagram this video when they started this hike in Virginia, and Sharathji is there in a picture and looking happy and like looking to the camera like this and like walking with these people, like maybe 50 people going to this hike. And it was like, I was just looking at this like, oh my God, this is a little bit too much for me. Because it takes your mind to that moment, and the person who was happy, and then, like, next moment he's there. So yeah, it was almost like feeling like, wow, that was difficult to digest.
Very true, because Petri, you started going to Mysore in 1996. So you started to study in Mysore with Pattabhi Joyce.
Yeah, and Sharathji, he was already there. He was there already in I think 1990. He started to assist Pattabhi Joyce. Yeah, he was already full on.
Full on.
Also, Pattabhi Joyce started to get older, so he needs to have breaks. Sometimes he fell asleep in a corner in this little pal, and like just sitting there and like falling asleep. And Sharathji was doing, I think, the most of the work already that time. And then a few years later, it was more and more Sharathji's responsibility. But yeah, it was really amazing. Two teachers in that very small shala, and very, very high energy, and it was really like super experience for me coming from a small country and didn't really speak English at all. We never spoke English with maybe anybody who was like native English speaker. Speaking English in the school or something. And just going to that kind of big world where there was all these Americans and kind of famous Ashtangis, and then there's two big teachers. It was very like high vibe, I would say. But yeah, that's how it was. It was like an old time of Mysore. People were still walking around using bicycles. Almost no cars, no scooters. People still ride horses.
Oh wow!
There was one phone in Lakshmipuram. Used to call home, and it was super expensive. You suck the coins like crazy. You put the coins like this, and it's also the time when you send the letters to home. You know, you send like one letter per month.
Oh my God.
Yeah, fine. And it reads home like 1 month later.
That's funny.
You know, that kind of time was like old India, kind of older India. There was one printing place, and there was a few restaurants where people ate. Yeah, beautiful. We had a slow Mysore. And then next year, when I went back in like 1997, it was already much busier.
That's something I'm sorry I did not get to know that old Mysore. My first trip was in 2014, so we were at the Shala in Gokulam. It was already very busy.
It was still quite an
Yeah.
experience.
It is, yeah. But I went there for the first time. I did not know what to expect. I didn't know what I would find, but I just felt that I wanted to go. So I was so into this Ashtanga Yoga practice that I thought, well, I better go see for myself. Instead of like listening to people's stories, I better get the experience myself. And I've never regretted a single time having dedicated some years of my life going to Mysore, and how things have changed now. Massive changes around the corner as well, but I do not regret going to Mysore. I do not regret having studied. In my case, it was only with Sharathji. I did not meet Pattabhi Jois, but I don't regret a single moment.
Yeah.
There are some moments that are a little harder sometimes when you are in Mysore. Sometimes it gets a little bit like, can be a little intense at times, can be a little heavy.
Yeah.
Sometimes you are like doing your Surya Namaskar and wondering, what am I doing here anyway? What's the point of all of this?
India is not the easiest place to be, and the culture is very different. So sometimes it's just overwhelming. All the noise and smells, and you know, getting sick, and also it's just the. But you know, at that time, 2014, it was the time when Sharathji was like already maybe 1 year earlier. You know, after Pattabhi Jois passed on in 2009, Sharathji was still the first years after Pattabhi Jois. He was still like a little bit like this kind of Pattabhi Jois assistant. So he was still like this kind of very, I would say, innocent, like, and he's like a very super humble. Like he still didn't take that role of the like Guruji, Sharathji.
Sharathji, yeah.
He was still like this kind of like, still maybe feeling that he's doing this, still somehow assisting Pattabhi Jois, or like. I remember in 2013, it started to change. That it started to become more and more this like, now I am the person, I am that who's taking that legacy, and and the main teacher. And then he started to be more and more Sharathji and Guruji for the people. And just the last years, I think, also when more and more Indian people start to go to practice,
Yes.
it became even more is like a guru for the people. But in the beginning, like 10 years ago, like 12 years ago, it was still a little bit different.
Yeah, probably. I personally don't have that perspective. I don't have the perspective, because like my connection with Mysore, my connection starts in 2014, and so
Yeah,
I don't have anything to compare
exactly.
to.
It was already that kind of new Sharathji.
Yeah, no, but Sharathji, like the JI, it was added like 2017, something like that.
It came later, but it kind of slowly started to happen already. 2015.
Yeah, I remember there was even like one video that went viral online that it was like Sharathji, like teaching people how to call him.
Oh, wow.
If you say Sharath, it's like as if you were talking to like a family member or a close friend.
Well, it's normal in India, Sharathji or Guruji, like,
Mhm.
you know, we just had this ritual and this Pandita called me Guruji, and I was like, I felt a little bit strange. But it's India culture, and I'm a teacher. I've been teaching since 1991. So like for some Indian person, yeah, maybe that is already Guruji, but I just felt like, well, I'm European, so name that kind of name doesn't just feel natural.
Yeah, I know.
But for her, it was like no problem. I, was like, I call you Guruji. But you know, there was this story because then Sharathji became a Paramaguru, and that was like I told this story in that puja on Saturday. So Sharathji became Paramaguru on this one of these trips to the Himalayas, and you know, for many people, especially for the older people and some Indian people, it was a little bit heavy title for the younger yoga teacher, like less than 50 years old at the time. And so then I was in a conference, I don't know if it was 2016 or it was earlier, maybe some year earlier. And I recorded this song when Pal Pal Dil, that kind of old Bollywood movie song, which was a love song. And Sharath, on the stage, he said that when my friends start to go out to a little bit party and maybe have some girlfriend or something like this, he didn't go out, and he was singing this song, this Pal Pal Dil, the love song for Ashtanga.
Oh,
And so Ashtanga was his
girlfriend.
love, like, and waking up early morning and going to the practice and, you know, teaching all day and all. It was all completely his life. And then, of course, the family life came. But, you know, I told this story to one of my friend, and she just said, like, okay, let him have that title, because, you know, he was really, if you start to sing love songs for your yoga practice, then you are very deeply devoted to what you're doing. So yeah, and he was deeply devoted to Ashtanga Yoga and teaching and passing this technique to the thousands of people. Yeah, and also what makes this passing on dramatic was the timing of the new sequence, just starting a new season. So many, like hundreds of people has been registering for the new season starting in the beginning of December, and there was all these teachers around doing this teacher training for this new sequence, this active sequence. And so it's just so dramatic that it happened exactly in that moment when everything is kind of starting and getting even bigger.
No, definitely. Definitely. I got accepted to go now. I was planning to go in December. So I had December, January. I'll still go. I'll still go.
Yeah.
Yes, because I have the time off. I managed to carve time out this time to go. And it feels like the thing to do.
Sure.
I don't know how it will play out. I don't know. I really don't know anything, but I've spoken to some friends as well, and it looks like people are coming.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
at least it will be nice to see people that I have not
The
seen.
people, and even Mysore is beautiful, and there's
Mm,
nice things to do.
mm.
And going to this place, the kind of the origin of Ashtanga Yoga. You feel the spirit there.
I also have the feeling that it can be a part of me personally, a part of me needs to process. I still know very much intellectually, but I do not. It has not landed. It has not landed. And so I think it's important that things land and that you do some digestion of what's happening. In a way, I feel like I'm going into the eye of the hurricane. In a way, because there are going to be people that still and not really knowing what we're going to do. But if we talk about community and we talk about grief, we talk about love, if we talk about bonding, well, I think there is something for us there. There is something for us there. So it's going to be a big surprise, like a big mystery, big question mark.
Yeah, I'm sure it will be a good trip. And also you can go to other places. There's beautiful places around, going to Melkote or Nanjangut or amazing temples and places to go to do more prayers.
Yeah, go to do more prayers, exactly.
More
puja. So that's, I think there are going to be many pujas. Anyway, I go to so many things. It will be a nice way to reconnect with the community and with yourself as well. There is something that I've always found in the Mysore experience. It's probably an aspect of the Mysore magic, as it's known, which is this reconnection with yourself, many times with the dark side. I think Mysore can be very strong when it comes to shedding light on the darkness in you, on the things that you thought that you had left behind or that they were resolved and they are unresolved still, or there is like a new layer of resolution. So it's more like an inner yoga experience. It's not so much in asana, which you could have like strong asana practice, but it's not so much about that as it is about just going deeper, like dropping into yourself a little more each time, I would say. Petri, so speaking of layers, speaking of dropping into yourself, speaking of all of this, something that I really liked about practicing with you when you came to Madrid, it was, I mentioned the way how you handle the Mysore room, the way how you are able to see people. And for me, this is something unique in the sense that following the tradition and sticking to the system and to the method, the Ashtanga Yoga method, and at the same time making room, making space for the person, the specific student to be himself or herself or be themselves. It requires skill in the teacher. And I feel that this is one of the things that you bring to the table. There's purity and authenticity in sharing the method. You can tell that you have experienced it inside again and again. You've gone through the process, you've done the work, and at the same time, you're able to see the person in front of you. You're able to see where they're at. You're able to have the openness of mind to let them be. And I found that very liberating and rather unique as well.
There's some very loud Portuguese ladies just around.
No problem.
It's a little bit like it's a little bit similar as you say, like it looks a little bit like India. It also sounds like India.
Yeah.
anyhow, so yeah, of course, I have quite a long already Ashtanga life since 1989. So when I started to practice with the Derek Island in Rathavarel, and then Lino Miele, and then I go into Mysore and getting really into the Ashtanga, and of course it became my profession also in the end of the 90s. So it's a long, and being quite a lot of time with Patavi Choice and Sharathji in Mysore, but also traveling with them around, and there's some of that energy in me. I know it. I'm not alone when I'm teaching. It's like it's me, but it's also my teachers, and that's I don't want to copy them and like use the same words what they use and use the same like accent what they use, but it's just something inside. When you're teaching, you just have that feeling of your teachers at the same time. So I'm just like 50% me myself and 50% of the teachers somehow.
Yes. And
then adding all the work what I've been doing with my other teachers, with especially the healers I've been working with many years in the 90s, the Finnish healer masters. So that is part of it. So also those teachers are with me already, some of them ancestors. And so yeah, it's interesting. Like most of my teachers are already passed on. So that's also really strange feeling. You feel like, okay, now I have to just survive and keep going, and now I'm alone. Not alone, not alone, but just feeling like, okay, of course there's a community of other teachers, and now it became more important thing that we start to collaborate with other teachers, and it's just because alone is so, it's not nice. And also it's like many brains at the same time give so much more information than one brain. But yeah, so my Ashtanga teachers, my healer teachers, masters, my studies with the mythology, and of course, like creating and also learning lots of different kind of adjustments, and try to develop the adjustments to making them like as effortless as possible and as soft and safe as possible. And then like just really thinking about this, the yoga is a therapy for the body, mind, spirit. So it's not seeing also the individual needs, the people's body types, the age, really like what people need, what is important. And I think going back to the like very much to the Krishnamacharya's teaching method, not maybe in the 1930s and 40s, because he was really like harsh teacher at that time, but later, like in the 1970s, 80s, when he was already older, like one of my teachers, H.E. Mohan, said that he was not that kind of like harsh teacher anymore, but he was very kind, and he was still strict and kind of tough in a way, but he was not like violent. He was forcing people anymore.
You see that in many teachers, don't you? That evolution.
Yeah, it's that. Yeah, sure. Some teachers started to change to become more like a student therapy based, and some are still following the old little bit forcing method.
Mm.
Also the whole hierarchy, idea of hierarchy and authority. I'm always been somehow against of the hierarchy and authority since I was small. And I don't want to be any kind of authority in a shala. I'm just teaching what I learned and what knowledge I have. But to be some kind of like special person, I don't have any need for that. Actually, opposite. I want to be as small as possible. I'm not important. The student is important. So all this together makes how I am when I teach Ashtanga. Many years of experience and studies and one thing more what I would like to say is the quietness. I respect the quietness and giving that space for the student to feel themselves and hear the breath and hear their own thoughts, and so not to disturb anyone if it doesn't feel necessary. I mean, if somebody's doing something completely weird, and of course we or if people want so if they need something we can communicate, but usually it's just like mostly quiet space, keeping things very peaceful, not forcing anyone physically or mentally, thinking a little bit even more about mind and the body. That it's really the mind is more important than the asana. Even the beginners can be super advanced in mentally, which is for me is more important than this amazing poses. Amazing poses are great, but more important is what happens in the mind. That
you can definitely tell.
Experience of light and peace is much more important than some advanced pose.
You can definitely tell that when you're practicing with you, like the type of ambience that you create, that you facilitate, it's very much grounded. It's very calm. It's very serene. There's a lot of work. People are working very deeply. So there is depth.
It becomes very smooth and somehow natural. But of course, there are people who doesn't really understand that kind of teaching style, and they want somebody who talks a lot and explains and give harder adjustments, and it's this kind of teaching method, and quite many people like it. But I've seen people who doesn't like it. They're like, okay, Petri, this teaching method is too soft. It's like it's too soft for me. But it's very safe. It's very safe. I try to also learn from the scandals, from all the sexual abuse, which has been happening in the yoga world for a long time already. Which also happening with the Patabi choice, and so like really try to be aware of being mindful how I touch people and where to touch people. But it has to think about, like, is the hand in the wrong place? So it gives one kind of freedom for the people that that doesn't have to be part of your thoughts. Then you can focus more for the practice and for your own mind. Be more free.
Definitely. I think that a softer approach can match well fit well with the nature of this Ashtanga Yoga practice that can be intense. And so sometimes you need that balance of intensity with a bit of space and softness. I think that is something that appeals to many people, and that can bring about an experience of balance that otherwise, I mean, I can speak in my own experience as a student and as a teacher as well. Times when I've been like more militant, when I've been maybe more intense, when I've been more harsh, I can see the student burning out because there is like so much fire already in the practice. It doesn't mean that sometimes you don't need to step in and be a little more like pressing someone's buttons, but if all your teaching styles about pressing someone's buttons, like people usually lose it, because like to being able to endure that on a regular basis requires a lot from both sides, from teacher and student. So sometimes being able to step back and like being a little softer and a little more gentle and a little more allowing,
the
it
practice
feels very good.
Yeah, the practice is already very intense.
Yes.
And I see the teachers sometimes, because like my age people, like on the 50s, like you'll be going through like the school system in the like 1970s. It was pretty hard. It was not violent anymore, but it was not very safe. The teachers could be like shouting and tough, and also the education system, even at home, it could be like quite harsh, and definitely you were not like free to choose what you want to do. There was always this pressure that you have to be something that otherwise you can become like some kind of like lower class person or something. But so I can see sometimes teachers go back to that kind of, they start to become so harsh with the student and start to give these like orders for them and be a little bit mean. And otherwise these people are super kind and nice and friendly, but then in a yoga class, when it comes to the teaching, something is shifting and the teacher starts to like be this like power abusive person.
It's an element of power there for sure.
Yeah, like it just comes up, this like old memory of like how everybody has been with you when you were young. And difficult to avoid. It really takes effort to change that, I would say, the violent teaching method and communication to the more peaceful and kind. It's a years of work. It can take 20 years, just to slowly change.
When it comes to teacher and students working together, we're talking about hierarchies and how you are not so keen on hierarchies. I think when it comes to hierarchy, there is an element of power as well. And maybe in the old days, we looked at a teacher or a guru and the students as being in different levels in a way. So the directions come from the guru into the student, which in a way you're treating the student as, or the disciple, if you like, as if there would be no intelligence there in a way, or they don't know any better. And so just do as it's said and things will change. And even though there is some virtue there, because like you go to someone, study with someone because you believe that there are things that that person knows that you don't know. So you need to be open and teachable and receptive. But at the same time, you need to be well connected to yourself. And sometimes there are certain things that they just don't click. It doesn't matter how many times they say it to you. It doesn't matter how hard they try. It doesn't matter how hard you try. It just does not click. And so in this new era, if you like, which it's been happening for some time already, I feel the hierarchies are opening up. And the teachers and the students, they kind of relate in a more from a place of equality. We play different roles in that specific setting, different roles, but still there is a quality of openness, and the level is similar. It's not like I'm here, you're here, I know better than you, just do as you're being told and don't question too much. If what I'm saying makes sense. So to me, that's an example of a more open hierarchy. It has nothing to do with not being teachable. It has nothing to do with being wild. It's nothing to do with any of that. It only has to do with two people coming together because there is work to do. And the work is going to impact both parties.
Yeah. It's kind of natural, you've been putting lots of effort, you've been studying for many years, and you have enough knowledge, and you have personal connection with the teachers, and then you start to teach, and it doesn't have to be anything else than just spreading that knowledge, what you've been learning. It doesn't have to be any hierarchy. The hierarchy, I think it's already, it comes from somewhere. It comes from some kind of trauma, the whole hierarchy. From like, it's not necessary. It's like, yeah, it's some kind of pain inside the mind, or something what you've been going through, a kind of harshness, and you're losing your kindness and softness in that moment. And some people can also say, like, yeah, we need to be a little bit like hard, and it's like, I disagree. I don't think so. I never, yeah, of course sometimes you lose your mind in some situations when things just like go so wrong, and you can become angry and all, but that's but kind of like using your hierarchy, that authority, yeah, it's not necessary in that, especially in the Mysore Shala. It doesn't need it. Just spread the knowledge and kindness and care for the people without being some kind of special person. You're not special person. Other people are special also. They be studying other things. I mean, I'm only special when I have that special experience when I'm in a Mysore Shala, but when I stop the practice, other people are much more special than me, and all other fields. But I don't know. Yeah, there's a cultural differences, of course. Like in India, maybe, if you don't use your authority, then people maybe doesn't respect you, because it's how people learn, still learning things, is through that kind of little bit tough behavior. I remember when I was teaching in Purple Valley in Goa, there was a different staff for the Indian workers and for the Western workers, because the Western workers couldn't handle the Indian workers because they didn't know how to behave. They were too kind somehow. And then
Indian.
people didn't respect them. If we had too kind, people didn't come to work. There was one person who was like, I could see how he was like handling things, and somehow people respected that a little bit more harsh teaching method. I don't know, for me it just doesn't make sense. But I come from the different culture.
Yeah, I would say many times we take things out of context, and cultural context are very important because they shape the way how you relate to the world, the way how you relate to others, and things like authority, things like hierarchy, ideas of power, ideas of autonomy, the need for a community, maybe the entanglement in a community, all those things, I believe that are very much, you are more inclined to some of them based on the culture where you were brought up. That's something that I see in myself.
Yeah.
I was born in Spain. I am not the archetypical Spanish person at all, but still I have things that come from my, like seeds that come from my upbringing, and I see how they play out when it comes to authority, when it comes to community, when it comes to, I might be very independent, and a part of me, like always like the background or like the underlying thought is like, you are way too independent. That's it. You were something wrong, and we're doing something wrong. Because like in my culture and where I was brought up, going to a restaurant on your own to have like a 3-course meal, it's weird. You don't have friends. Basically, there's something wrong with you. Whereas doing that in a place like, for example, the UK, it's normal. I mean, it's quality time with yourself. So it's very different. The way how you look at the same experience, very different.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
You can see that in yoga as well.
I can also see some of the old values are better also than the new values, like some kind of determination, commitment, the idea of freedom. Because nowadays I think the idea of freedom makes people very lonely, because have like become so like oversensitive and super individualist, this kind of like hyper sensitive individual, and just making your life very complicated because people become somehow very weak from their mind. Like, you know, a little bit something uncomfortable and they already give up. It's not exactly fitting to my schedule, so like, okay, I delete it. Yeah, there's something which starts to be kind of annoying, and also like weak. It becomes weakness already. It's like the modern freedom can become weakness. Also, like people are so much want to be in the social media, but at the same time, they are so super sensitive if somebody says anything about them, or like take picture of them, or like, you know. Yeah. So yeah, I see the old, some of the old values has much more power. Not giving up so easily, not canceling and not deleting so easily. And it's Ashtanga Yoga needs lots of that determination, and you know, like not every day feels good, and it's not such a big deal. Don't have to all the time feel good.
Definitely. Petri, you were running a yoga shala in Helsinki for a long time. Because we're talking about Ashtanga Yoga, all values and all virtue, like things that bring strength and that are very much in alignment with practice, like the things that this practice teaches you, like not giving up, being resilient, being determined, being disciplined, which they're all they're good qualities to have, to hone and to have in life. Yeah. And you run this yoga shala in Helsinki for how long was that? 11 years? Did I get that right?
No, it's still going. We
Still
opened
go.
we opened the shala in 1997. It was like really like time when there was no yoga shalas anywhere. People were renting some space, maybe some gymnastic hall or something. You know, it was not. 1997. There was really like in Europe. I don't know if there was many yoga shalas anywhere. And maybe in the US there was few because they started so much earlier. But yeah, it was something very special. We rented out this like old kindergarten place, and it has 2 small shalas. And we didn't think, we were like so worried that people are not coming. And then after a few months, it was completely full. It was packed. We couldn't even fit people in there. They were practicing in the kitchen, and they were entering everywhere.
That's amazing.
There was people everywhere, and it started to Ashtanga started to become more popular at that time. 1997, 1998, there was this big Ashtanga boom in the world.
With the big stars doing Ashtanga Yoga.
Yeah, the big stars started to practice Ashtanga, and it's just, it was amazing. That was the time when I started to teach only Ashtanga. That it became my work, and I had to stop everything else what I was doing. But yeah, it's still going. Ashtanga Helsinki is still there. We with Juha Javonen, we started to teach already in 1991, 1992. We have a very long
history.
Business partnership.
Oh, good.
We can't even call it really business partnership because it's we've been friends since big.
Well, would you say
just be going, but now the yoga shalas are really suffering after the COVID.
Yeah,
I see everywhere the same. The workshops and retreats are doing quite well, but the shalas doesn't have enough students. So
that's what I've seen.
Yeah, it's really hard. Even the big traditional places like in London.
That's true.
There's less people. There has been before. There was maybe line. Now there's a less line. Now there's a space. Oh, this is going on, and I don't know in the future after all this what happened, that we lost our gurus, that what will happen for Ashtanga. Is it getting stronger? Does it get weaker? But usually when the gurus are passing on, then things change a lot. Sometimes to the positive also. And I think what happened with Sharathji is that, he was just launching this new sequence, which means that he started to be like more accessible, more understand that everybody cannot practice 6 times a week, 2 hours, go to Mysore. And so he already started to open that. Okay, so Ashtanga can be also lighter form, and like a little bit like what David Swenson did already in 1996.
The short forms.
In the short forms, and it was
that's how I started doing Mysore with his book.
Like he was destroying everything, but now it became everybody's like keen up just to publish the accessible yoga book.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a new time, that kind of hard dogmatic Ashtanga is a little bit gone.
Mm-hmm.
There's more understanding about the body and mind somehow. And we start to have also, what is amazing is that we start to have lots of older people, like plus 60 and even plus 70, few plus 80 even.
Wow. Is that in
People,
Portugal or in Helsinki?
yeah, everywhere.
Nice.
Coming to the workshops, coming to retreats.
Amazing.
And also, we have also disabled students, which is pretty amazing to, people just come and they feel like they are part of the community and they belong to this practice. So we have more tools nowadays, and we can use the tools also, physical tools also. We have more mental tools, but we have also more physical tools. We can use blocks and ropes and chairs and walls, and 25 years ago it was forbidden. Only tool what we had was towel.
A towel.
But even that we couldn't use all the ways.
The thing that you mentioned, there's a new wave in, I see it as a new wave or new era in a way, of making things more open, more accessible, the hierarchies being more like open as well.
Yeah.
The practice being made more available for people from different walks of life. It isn't, Ashtanga yoga can be intimidating, and if you've been doing it for a long time, you don't see it intimidating anymore. You're removed from that. You see it as this is what you do and this is normal, but it's not that normal. It's not that common, honestly. And when you get new people coming into practice, coming to a workshop or to class, like taking that first step, going to a class, especially if it's Mysore class where you show up and you start doing the practice. You don't even know if you're inhaling, exhaling at the right time. You might be doing full vinyasa because that's what you think it's done. You might be do a certain amount of things that, they make you feel a little self-conscious. People feel self-conscious. And so it's important that we acknowledge that, because if we want Ashtanga yoga to remain strong and to be more welcoming, it's very good that the people that practice continue practicing. It's also good that the system can welcome new people that might not be only the young and the fit. There's really something for everyone, and there's a quality of mind and a very deep work, therapeutic work that happens in the practice. And so it's good that the system is made available and that can meet the person. Well, we need to understand that the system can also feel a little intimidating. People can feel self-conscious. So creating spaces and communities that are open and not judgmental, it doesn't mean that people don't work. It doesn't mean that there is not energy put into one's practice, but I think it can be very empowering for people to feel safe, feel welcomed, not feel judged, and feel part of the community. This sense of community, I think it's very strong and very, very beneficial for people.
Sure, and there's still lots of work. There's still lots of work to do. We have there's most of the people, most of the community is kind of typical white, privileged, coming mostly from the Christianity. Most of the people are still heterosexual. I think there's a lot of work to do to open Ashtanga for all different directions.
Mm-hmm.
You have courage to do it, not just to keep doing what everybody has been doing forever.
Mm.
Just advertise Ashtanga for like this certain type of people, but like really try to open. Like we have you can show here, we have this beautiful flag on the wall.
Mm-hmm. What does it say there? Something saints?
And we have the
The new saints?
and then we have just try to work. And also like there was people like queer people coming to practice, and when they see the flag they feel like, oh wow, I'm safe. It's a good place for me. And even the heterosexual, when they see the flag, they can see that, okay, this place is open. These are tiny things. We are bringing Black and brown people to teach with us, to give that experience, and a different experience. Like really try to like work to give something else than. I mean, it's needed. It's really needed. I mean, like when we talk about liberation in yoga, it has to be liberation in all layers. It has to be physical liberation, mental liberation, spiritual liberation. Can't talk liberation if it's not open for everyone. I mean, if people doesn't feel comfortable to go somewhere to practice, they feel like they're not belonging community because they are not part of this, typical normative Ashtangis.
Mm-hmm. True. That's very true.
And this way, also as a teachers, it's good to have teachers from all different. And there's also lots of diversity among the teachers.
Mm-hmm.
Because for me, as a Finnish man coming from Scandinavia, it's not so easy to bring people. It's just the energy when people come. If I'm a white heterosexual, when people come who's not white heterosexual, like this kind of, they already feel from the beginning that, okay, this person is not kind of part of us. Okay. So it's also good if you have teachers, we have like really opening that everything. Even I'm kind of open. I'm very open. I try to be open and like try to be friendly for everyone. But it's just the energy which is, different.
Yeah.
You go to the places and you feel how things are.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
And some people feel more like a home when they go somewhere and other places. So that's something. We have lots of work. We have lots of work to do.
Lots of work to do. What would you say that makes a community strong, Petri? We touched on different things like inclusivity, kindness. We talked about
exactly what makes the community strong, that people feel safe and belonging, and they don't have to be very worried about if I'm going there that I'm not accepted in all the levels. Like we need so much more understanding for the human body and mind. Also, I had people coming to practice who cannot practice Ashtanga because they have injuries and pains. And then we start to practice something else. We don't start Ashtanga because they cannot do Ashtanga. but they can do some hatha yoga poses and they can do some therapy poses. But it's not Ashtanga, it doesn't look like Ashtanga. But those people still want to be part of Ashtanga community somehow. They feel like
Yes.
this is powerful. This is the place I want to be.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to say for them that like, okay, I can't, I can't teach you because you cannot do Ashtanga. No, this person wants to be part of the community. They want to also heal and start to do Ashtanga in one point when they feel better. So there's already been these people who start in the Mysore room with practicing something else than Ashtanga.
Mm-hmm.
And then after a few years, they start to do Ashtanga and they can even become very advanced or whatever. It doesn't really matter.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a beautiful experiences of this, just being so much more open and understanding, and then people just really become happy and they feel comfortable.
Something I have experienced is that practice can be much more versatile than we think. And many times when you get people in class that have some certain limitations in terms of what they can do or the time that they have, which is a big thing as well. Time, how do you, especially maybe not so much if you're running a retreat or an intensive, because people, they carve out the time and they organize their lives and all of that. But if you run a program, time is important. Because many people have many things to do apart from the yoga practice. And so you don't want to get people stuck doing the same thing ever again and making them people beat themselves up because they don't have the time to do different things. So I think that an important role of the teacher is making the practice available also for people with a little less time and give them, look at the practice as a whole and looking at the person as a whole and seeing what's more beneficial for the person. And it's not about skipping work. It's about, once again, meeting the person where they are with the tools that Ashtanga Yoga as a system offers. Many times things are more versatile than we think. If we are willing to open our minds a little to possibility, a little bit more to possibility, what's possible. That's something that I've seen in you, and that's something that I like.
People can be a little bit stuck sometimes. It's also good to, this is the also this kind of modern human issue is that everything should all the time move and go, and it's like, say, like the kids can be sometimes, it's good to be a little bit bored.
That's true.
It's not the end of the world. You don't have to give like video game quickly that because the child is bored. And like just spending time a little bit alone and in that same space and feeling that nothing is happening is also important.
It's part of it. It's part of the experience.
Yeah, it's a real things doesn't have to happen so quickly.
So what's next now, Petri? We're speaking of like things not needing to happen so quickly, but like the inevitable question that we have, it's like, what's next now in the Ashtanga Yoga world? With Sharathji is passing on.
Well, the teachers continue teaching the same way as they've been doing. Like I said before, I started to do the collaboration workshops. We did with Scott Johnson and David Svensson last summer in London in June, and we will continue that work with what we call the Ashtanga United.
Cool.
And so that's one thing that I hope the teachers start to collaborate.
Mm-hmm.
We need each others. We need help. We need friends. It was amazing thing in London. We had so much fun, and it was also super nice for the students to have 3 teachers.
Yeah, I
And
bet.
everyone quite experienced, and David Svensson started in 1974, so it's like a long experience. And next summer we will do the same thing in London in June 5th to 8th, and there will be amazing thing again with the different teachers. And also I do it with other teachers also. And now with the Lama Rod Owens, so bringing Tibetan Buddhist Lama to Sangha workshop, or like collaborating is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Michelle G. Johnson is coming in 2026, so also bringing the kind of different views. So yeah, I think that's the future. I don't know what will happen in Mysore. I really don't know if there's something what people are planning. That would it be like different teachers, different names, like Hamish from London, and maybe Kino and Tim and all these people maybe start to do something there. Maybe some Indian teachers.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what's going on, what kind of plans people have. But I think this collaboration is a future.
Mm-hmm.
And then definitely opening Ashtanga to be more accessible and individual, in a way that anybody who comes to practice, they can find the way. They can find a way to be part of the Ashtanga community.
Yeah, that's the key.
Yeah,
That's one of the keys.
and now we've seen already the Sharathji made his new sequence. Thailand from made his Black Lotus sequence. There was already
Mm-hmm.
Matthew made already his Mu sequences long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
David Svensson made his short forms. The Dr. Steiner in Germany made his like therapy yoga sequence.
Mm-hmm.
So this is kind of opening this. I don't really need to maybe teach a new sequence for people, but making Ashtanga accessible, and doesn't always have to be Ashtanga pose what we are teaching. It can be some kind of therapy pose or strengthening pose, or but using Ashtanga as a base. And then the people who can practice Ashtanga, they have able body, they have like, if they can do those kind of original Ashtanga poses, then they can keep doing and make progress to like 3rd series and 4th series and 5th series like before.
I very much resonate with that.
We can have in the same class, we can have lots of different variations from the Ashtanga.
I think there is richness and there is a wealth to be exploring that. In fact, one project that I've been working on for the last year is like Ashtanga Yoga for women. It doesn't mean that the name is Ashtanga Woman. It doesn't mean that women cannot do Ashtanga Yoga the way it is. But women, we have particularities. Our bodies are different to those compared of men. And so looking at all these ideas of accessibility, all the sequences that are coming out or that came out before, the ways how the system was taught before compared to the latest years, all of this gives you, if you step back a little bit, you see that the system is something very much alive. So it was the Ashtanga Yoga Research Institute. That was a research, and I think the research is ongoing. For me, my passion is with the practice for women, because it's so many of us, and sometimes I believe that our needs are not necessarily
Sure,
understood.
I think like a female gathering and the male gathering, Ashtanga is like, you know, like you said, we have a bodily differences, but we have also a little bit difference in the mind.
Yeah, completely.
And
Upbringing as well.
life,
Different.
you know, there's a menopause, there's a, you know, the woman, the child, you know, deliver the babies, and like it changes the bodies and changes the mind. There's a lots of these things what we can share among the women, different way if there's a man around, because you know then it changes the energy. And that's why it is sometimes important that there is these gatherings where like kind of similar minded people are meeting each other, because then they feel safe and they share things what they can't share with the people who doesn't understand them.
Yes. So yeah, it's like exciting times, very sad times, very heartbreaking times, but there is also a lot of work to do. I feel there is like a lot of work to do.
I don't know who will be the person who will kind of take over, like, or maybe there's many people, maybe there's some kind of association or something where like these kind of main Ashtanga teachers are making conferences or, you know, retreats or something for the people and sharing the knowledge. So that would be quite amazing. I hope that will happen, and I'm happily part of it. if so, that's also the people who practice with path of choice and have that experience from the like 1970s, 80s, or 90s. There's not so many anymore. There's a lot of new generation people from the last 10 years or 5 years. So that would be very helpful for this newer Ashtanga practitioners to just even to listen and see people who's been doing it for 30 or 40 years.
I agree.
Maybe even 50 years, like like David Svensson.
I agree.
Yeah, so there's and this this didn't happen with Sharathji, and I was kind of somehow expecting when Sharathji took over and became this Guruji, that he could arrange that kind of gathering for the whole world and bring people all the way from 1970s, all these David Williams and all these people, like and whoever was like already ancestors, but Rolf and Nancy Gilgoff and all these people would be like part of it and share the Ashtanga experience. It would be, but it did never happen. I don't know why, but now we could do it. Now we could do that. It would be time to gather and like bring people together. They did it in US few years
ago. Yoga Confluence, the Ashtanga Yoga Confluence they used to do, I think.
But this was mostly for the American teachers, but for the whole world.
That would be amazing.
To do something what was really never done before.
Yeah, let's see what the future brings. But it's not what the future brings, it's what we make of the future. It's not
Yeah, we make
like
it.
we are completely helpless here. Not at all. We are
No,
active parts.
now it's our responsibility.
Mhm.
We are the ones which are here to spread the knowledge, and we can make the change.
Mm.
So somehow it's exciting also, like that, how we will do it.
Mm. Yeah, that is going to be a new chapter.
So this feeling of loss is, of course, it will keep going forever. It's
Yeah.
kind of, it will never stop. When you're so connected physically, mentally, and spiritually with somebody, it stays. You know, you have the picture on the altar, and you do your prayers, every morning, and it doesn't go away.
Mm.
But then you just take more responsibility, and okay, now it's my time, and now I have to do what I've been taught.
Mm-hmm. Sure. I like this idea of collaboration and inclusivity, making people feel that they are part of the Ashtanga community, so that it's making people feel welcomed, also new people or people with like experiencing difficulties. It could be in their body or the time that they have for practice, this kind of things, that people that don't necessarily fall into the like archetypical Ashtangi profile. I think that it's going to be powerful, and it will help the community stay strong, and also the numbers, students coming to shalas and coming to the yoga shala or joining yoga classes, Ashtanga yoga classes. It will keep things very strong and healthy. So that's something that I like, and we can all become better, a little better when it comes to collaboration, when it comes to inclusivity, when it comes to being kinder, being more welcoming. We can all improve.
Definitely, we need lots of tolerance to. It's a funny when there's this kind of inner circle that people start to like mock each other from the tiny things.
Yeah.
Like we still do the same, and like it doesn't matter if somebody's doing a little bit different, but people are serious, like doing like, okay, this person is doing like wrong vinyasa, like this is the seventh vinyasa, this is like that's the wrong angle of the knee or something. Like it doesn't really matter at all.
Yeah.
So we really need lots of tolerance, and like and this has always been missing a little bit, I have to say. It's always been missing. So we are a little bit selfish and self-important, and like this is what I learned is the most important, and what other people learn is not so important, and this ego trips. But yeah, we need tolerance to like accept each others as we are. We have different lives, we have different experiences, we have different backgrounds, and we are all Ashtangis. So that's the main thing. We are friends. We are family.
Yeah, we are. We are.
Yeah, definitely. It's
Yeah, we are
the big thing that you're doing the same practice. Huge.
It's very. I'm gonna wrap up with this thought, with the thought that we are family, because it's a beautiful one, and I think it's very relevant nowadays that we carry this in our heart, so that we focus on the things that we have in common, which is the passion and the love for this practice and the devotion for this practice, instead of the tiny things of whether you do things this way or that way. And sometimes it only creates conflict, only creates unnecessary war. I think it's good to be together at this time. So I would like to wrap up with this thought. I think it's powerful. And Petri, where can people find you in the next few months, let's say, if they want to practice with you?
Whoa. Okay.
Moving around.
Really on the traveling now. I'm just staying at home for like 2 nights per weekend. So next weekend I will be in Lithuania, in Vilnius, and I will be in Amsterdam at Yoga Circle. I go to Brussels, and I go to Freiburg in Germany.
Mm-hmm.
I do in Helsinki. Like after the Christmas, those days we have like this kind of very nice thing. We also practice, but we also do some art, and we go to sauna, and we do this like a
Nice.
later.
Saunas are nice.
And I will go to Thailand for 1 month.
Oh, true.
The teaching retreat in Komak, and also in the north in Chiang Kham. And then I start already the February. It will be all different places. In Bern, I think it was the first one. It will be Gothenburg in Sweden. There will be Fuerteventura, the Canary Islands. Yeah. So that's, yeah, there's many, but there's I have it I've been posting already. Like we have still petriandbamboo.com, which is the website, and the Yoga Roots Odysseus, which is here in Portugal, in the Algarve.
Yeah. I hope to visit that space soon, maybe in 2025. The first half, I'll try to come.
Yeah, it's super nice. We live in a very small village, 900 people.
That's small.
Yeah,
that
nice.
is small.
Yeah, the sala is very cute. It's very, very, very Indian looking.
Like the house.
Yeah, and also like it's amazing that there's a lot of Indian people around. There's a Bangladesh shop just next, and there's India shop just around the corner. And the next village, the South Antonio, it's like big Nepalese India community. And the next, or the Mira, where also Sharathji was teaching in, was it 2019?
Yes.
It's not far away. It's 25 kilometers from here. There's a India community and nice restaurants and everything. It's really beautiful here.
Nice.
Slow life, peaceful, lots of sunshine. And yeah.
I can use some slow life in 2025.
Slow life, yeah.
Good. Lovely, Petri. So then people can check up your schedule on petriandbamboo.com.
Yeah.
We will link that on the comment section for people to keep tabs on you. I appreciate your time. You've been giving us 1 hour and a half, which is amazing. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Lovely talking to you, and I hope to see you soon.
See you soon.
Have a lovely day.
Thank you.